Isn't running gonna kill your gains? No. Stop listening to the bro science. Take what we got, take what we get, take what we can, but we're not gonna be able to take more than we can handle. The gym teaches us. It teaches us to be humble, very humbling. Well, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you again. It's been a minute since I've been out here. I'm sure you noticed no time at all, but I've been sick I was sick for probably 4 or 5 days there. Just couldn't get better, you know? Had what started out as just a simple little throat thing going on, and then just was so tired, exhausted, absolutely exhausted for, a good 3 or 4 days there. Still kind of recovering, still a little bit stuffed up from time to time, but I think that has to do more with the fact that we live in the allergy belt. Uh, yeah, that's a thing for those of you who didn't know what that was, like I did, until about a year or two ago when my doctor was like, yeah, we live in the allergy belt, you idiot. So dealing with normal allergy stuff, in the mornings it's a little rougher, but it's not the end of the world. Yesterday we got in our first workout since about Friday, so it'd been about 3 or 4 days. It was good. I just did a light push workout, light tricep work, just to kind of ease back into it, and oh God, it felt so good to do that again. Like literally the entire day was better just by getting that in there. But the days previous to that, I was literally so tired that I could barely think for most of the day, let alone use whatever energy I did have to put in a workout. It just wasn't going to be possible, sustainable, or even safe to do a workout when my body was in that type of condition. So yesterday I eased back into it by doing that workout. Man, then I went for a 2 mile run. Yeah, that's right. I did a 2 mile run. I haven't done a run in about 10 years. Like literally, it's been about a decade. I used to do triathlons, half marathons, you name it. Like did it all, ran them all, had a great time, loved doing it. My first tattoo was actually a winged foot, similar to what you would see a lot in cross country memorabilia. And that was really my first full love in exercise was running. Did about 2.25 miles. And, 10-minute pace wasn't the slowest I've ever done, wasn't the fastest I've ever done. That's for darn sure. Definitely not the fastest I've ever done. But it was almost immediately in that 2 mile run that I remembered and felt again why it is I fell in love with running to begin with. It was such a nice run. It was pitch black outside. I didn't, run with a phone or headphones or anything like that. Just totally on my own. Got in about 2 miles and it felt fantastic. So all of that was a great way to ease back into the stuff, and now we're out of that deload week you saw us doing previously, switching back over to that hypertrophy-based program, and we're going full on into the full meat and potatoes of this workout, getting in some real work, training to failure here, and doing some real volume. As you can see from today's workout, we've got a big pull day ahead of us. We're doing some wide grip pull-ups, some chest supported rows, all the fun things that we did last week that we were having fun with and enjoying, and really just hitting the ground running with this workout. We're going to be taking really just about every single one of these exercises to absolute failure. So the big emphasis here is going to be making sure that we're using good controlled form on every single set, every single rep. We want to be taking really nice controlled negatives, good squeezes at the top two when possible, but really hitting RPE 9, even RPE 10 or more on all of these. In fact, in some of these exercises, you're going to see me doing some integrated partials and or long length partials. You might be wondering what an integrated partial is. It's simply a long length partial that you're going to add onto a set that would contain normal reps. So you might be doing a set of, let's say, 10 curls, and then at the end of that, before you finish, once you get to RPE 10 doing your normal form, your normal ROM, your normal 10 reps, you're going to add in some integrated partials out at the bottom. Those are just going to amplify that volume even more. So you're not going to do every single rep as a long length partial, but you're going to tack on extra reps until you literally can't do any more. Maybe you have one integrated partial rep left in the tank, and that'll be the end of it. It just takes that volume to the nth degree with more intensity, and it really packs a huge punch in your workouts. If you've never done them before, give them a try. Do not do them on every single set. You really need to use them strategically. So we're only going to be doing that actually on some of our front-loaded exercises. That's where we're going to be really tacking those on there. For some of those later exercises, we might do long-length partials, but it's those earlier exercises, these pull-ups and these chest-supported rows, that we're really going to be focused on those integrated partials and making sure we leave literally nothing in the tank for those latter exercises. So let's get started. I would say let's get set up, but we don't really need to get set up for these wide grip pull-ups. We just need to get our wrist wraps on. I want to make sure our grip is not a failure point with those. So we'll be using the wrist wraps so that we can grip onto that pull-up bar without worrying about it. We're going to get some warm-up in with some band work just to kind of, work those shoulders a little bit more, work all those muscles and give them some resistance to pull onto. And then we're going to get right after it with these pull-ups. I'll see you over there. All right, let's do some pull-ups here. Going for 8 to 10 reps, nice and wide. So we're going to go a bit wider than shoulder width here. That should be good. Let's get it. 10 really good controlled reps here. We're looking for like a good 2 to 3 second negative on these. Good. Take it. Now you're probably wondering, BJ, what the heck are you doing running? What's the point of that? Well, as I've mentioned a couple times on the channel, we've got the Spartan race coming up in just over a month now. We're about 5 weeks out, something like that. It's in June. It's like the second week of June, I think. That's going to be a 10K on an off-road course. It's actually on a ski resort. And so we'll be running through, I don't know, probably mostly grass, maybe some trails, certainly some hills though. We're still doing our daily cardio on the bike or the stair stepper or whatever it is we're actually doing day to day. But I want to make sure we're getting in some running centric cardio. That's really the only thing that I can prepare for on that. I'm doing these lifts every day, I'm exercising every day. So whatever the Spartan race throws at us, because they don't make the exercises known to you until about 2 days beforehand. So running is about as prepared as we can get for this. With regards to what we're currently not doing from a training perspective. On top of that though, like I said, just kind of enjoyed it. I did, I'm not gonna lie. I literally finished my workout and went on that 20-minute run. So if I can incorporate some cardio into my day-to-day life that's centered around running, I'm all for it, man. Now, it is summer, so running in the middle of the day, probably ill-advised. I usually do my cardio at lunch, but we'll see where this path takes us. Maybe we'll keep doing more running. Maybe we'll do some running vlogs. Probably not. That's probably not an easy thing to do. All right, set number 2 here. 2 or 3 second negatives. Let's hit it. That got tough. That got tough. Oh, I know what you're gonna ask before you ask it. Isn't running gonna kill your gains? No, stop listening to the bro science. You know what kills your gains? Not eating enough. You know what also kills your gains? Not doing any cardio. Get out there, do your cardio. But when you're gonna do that, you gotta eat more. You gotta eat more food. It's that simple, guys. How often, how many times I see the question of like, isn't doing more cardio gonna just ruin your gains? No. No, eat more. Just eat more. It's that simple. It's that simple. Now, there's some research that has showed that doing cardio immediately before or after a workout can negatively impact your either workout itself or the overall recovery of that workout. But we're also not talking about going out and doing an hour of cardio or more immediately after or before a workout. I certainly wouldn't recommend you go and do heavy, intense interval training cardio right before your lift. That's obviously going to negatively impact your workout and take away the energy that you could have used for the lift itself. Similarly, doing that immediately after a workout probably going to negatively affect your overall recovery, but also your ability to perform on that run. So you usually want to give yourself at least 3 to 4 hours and a good meal in there to kind of refuel your body let it recenter and reset itself, and then get after that cardio. However, doing your cardio immediately after a workout, it's not gonna hurt you either, it really isn't. And I'm talking about that LISS or MISS, low intensity steady state or medium intensity steady state cardio that we should be doing every single day to keep our heart healthy. That's the type of cardio almost all of us need to be doing every single day, as compared to that long session, cardiovascularly intense exercise that a lot of runners, marathon runners, or athletes are gonna do to train for those types of activities. These runs are definitely gonna be a little bit more cardiovascularly intensive. Sometimes, I'm not gonna do it every time. I'm gonna try to restrain myself a little bit, even though I wanna go faster. But we just gotta eat more. We've got to eat more. That'll fuel those. That'll make it possible for us to continue to make gains when we're in our bulking phase here soon and not hold ourselves back too far. All right, last set here. We're gonna be doing our 8 to 10. We're really gonna be trying for that. We gave ourselves a extra 30 seconds on the rest there. We're gonna do our 8 to 10 reps. And then when we're done, we're gonna do some long length partials. So we're gonna be doing integrated partials at the end of this after our normal reps. We'll hit our normal reps and we're gonna crank out as many integrated partials as we can, coming up about halfway and not coming down all the way. Let's do it. That's good. Set number 2 here. This is an interesting exercise that I just really haven't done before with the easy bar curl, but man, am I loving it. It's a really good stretch. Okay, one more set of these bad boys. We're gonna do some integrated partials on this last one here. Take it all the way to failure. Get our reps in, and then get some integrated partials in. Let's do it. Integrated partials, come on. Oh, that's it. Whew. Switch over to our standard D-ring handle here, as it is a little bit easier to get my wrist wraps around it, and I'd like to use my wrist wraps for this, as my grip is definitely failing on these latter reps here. So you notice we're doing a full rep and then an integrated partial. Each of those is 1 rep, and we're doing 12 to 15. So I want to make sure we get the most out of this. We're going to use the wraps. There we go. That's better. Oh, see, with these wrist wraps, this attachment basically just becomes an extension of our arm. You don't even have to worry about holding on to it. Oh, definitely hit failure on those 1-arm pull-ins there in that last set, especially on my left side. That was good. You know, you go into them and you're like, I can do 3 sets of these, no problem. And then you finish that second set and you're like, nope, no, you're wrong. You are wrong again. Very humbling. And again, the gym teaches us to be humble, to take what we got, take what we get, take what we can. But we're not gonna be able to take more than we can handle. The gym will remind us of that every single time. And by doing this in the gym, by practicing it here, the mindfulness that comes from that, being able to recognize that, pay attention to it in your day-to-day life can really serve you well. It really can. just being able to observe and be aware of when you're overextending yourself, overcommitting yourself, overpromising yourself or others. Not allowing yourself to get in those situations can be very impactful. But when it does happen, we just own up to it. We live with it. We move on. We do what we can. And sometimes doing what we can is just moving on to the next exercise. All right, time for some incline dumbbell drag curls. Now, last week we used 25 pounds on these, and that was certainly too much. We only did 2 sets, and we barely hit our reps on that second set. So lowered it down to 20 pounds this week. And again, with these drag curls, we're gonna be taking them nice and wide here, all the way out, as opposed to having that dumbbell just right here and curling it this way. We're almost gonna be curling it perpendicular to us. So hopefully between these 2 angles, you can see that difference between this drag curl form and a regular curl form, where that dumbbell's gonna be a lot closer to the body. Let's do it. 15 reps. Lock those shoulders back. Good. Great first set. Let's repeat it. Oh yeah. Woo! I'll be honest. We started that set and I was like, this isn't giving me enough weight. We're gonna need to up the weight. Not a chance. Those last 3 were just crazy on our biceps. Oh, still got 1 more set. We're gonna crush it too. Last one here. Let's send this home all the way to failure. All the way to failure. Come on. I don't want to get that last rep up. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. All right, that first set was super sloppy, too heavy. That's all right. We got 2 more sets of this here, and then we've got some ab work. So this is where I'm gonna bid you farewell. Thanks for showing up today. Thanks for being here. It's good to have these conversations where we talk about some of these common myths and dispel them about lifting. These myths about if I run too much, if I swim too much, bike too much, is it gonna affect my lifting? At the end of the day, the one thing you've gotta remember, it's your body, you gotta figure it out. You've gotta figure out what works best for you, for your body, for your situation, for your lifestyle. There is not ever gonna be one template that's gonna work for you. There are gonna be principles that we know to be true, that we know will greatly benefit the vast majority of people out there, and that you don't need to worry yourself with trying to figure out and reinvent the wheel. First and foremost on that list is gonna be simply the law of thermodynamics. Calories in, calories out. If you wanna get big, you gotta lift big, but more importantly, you gotta eat big. If you wanna lose weight, you gotta eat less. So if you're doing a lot of exercise, you're gonna need more calories so you can grow or at least maintain. If you're trying to lose weight, well, you're gonna have to cut those calories. You gotta make some drastic changes. That doesn't mean you have to suffer. That doesn't mean you can't eat fun foods, foods you enjoy. It just means you have to reduce how much of those you eat to make sure you're at minimum hitting your protein goals and then filling in your carbs and your fats with reasonable amounts of each to get you to your total calorie needs. That's a topic for another conversation. For now, we've got some curls ahead of us. We're gonna go on another run, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for being here.